Hi, thanks for tuning in to Gabbing with Girlfriends. And I've got my pal, Brian Slagel, again. And I'm so excited because we haven't talked forever. And I know there must be tons to catch up on. Hi, Brian.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Me too. I'm good. I don't even know where to begin because it's been so long and it seems like so much has happened and probably so little has happened. And I'm just crazy. So, where are you today? Are you in Vegas?
Yes, Henderson per se, but I'm in Vegas.
I always do that too. When somebody says Vegas to me, I always say Henderson too. Isn't that funny? But it isn't Vegas. It's Henderson. It is different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you're in LA. Yeah, I'm in LA, but I'm in, Studio City or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Encino, exactly.
So have you been to LA since the fires?
Yeah, I was actually just there. I was there Tuesday. We had a screening. We did a documentary on the first Metal Massacre album, the first album that I ever put out that had, Metallica and Rat and all these people.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
They were supposed to invite you. Well, are you in LA?
Invited. We weren't in LA anyway, but we weren't invited, just so you know.
That's okay. We're going to do one here, hopefully. But anyway, I was just there. So, but I stayed in Hollywood and the screening was in Los Feliz. So it wasn't really, being there wasn't different at all. So it just was kind of the usual stuff, but I wasn't anywhere near the wildfires.
Yeah, I've only been there once since then. And I was nowhere near anything either. But it's just, you still kind of feel it. Or I did.
Yeah. It's definitely a different vibe out there. I mean, unfortunately, I know a lot of people that were affected by it. Thankfully, only a couple had their homes lost. I actually missed out. I had to come back. I had to drive back because I've been struggling with some allergy issues and my ears are kind of messed up. So I couldn't fly. So I had to drive out there. So I had to drive back and there was weather coming in. And if I got stuck there, I don't know when I would be able to get back, but I was invited to go see Adrian Smith and Richie Kotzen have a new band. And they were doing some sort of a premiere, which I didn't know was hosted by my friend Chris Jericho. So I missed that. But, Adrian was one of the ones who lost his house in Malibu, which is a real bummer.
Yeah, I know 5 people that lost their house. I know 2 people that didn't lose their houses, but still can't get back into their houses.
Yeah.
And my son who had been evacuated, his house is fine, but they were evacuated for like a week, and it's just devastating. Just devastating.
Yeah, it's so weird for me. Same thing. I have a lot of friends who are evacuated who some have been able to get back, some haven't been able to get back. But, I grew up there and I lived, 90% of my life in Southern California. And it's just like, and I've been through fires and earthquakes and floods, almost lost my house twice in fires. So you see that sort of stuff, but to that level was just complete insanity. I still kind of can't comprehend a lot of that stuff. So it was weird being back for a minute, but at least where I wasn't super weird.
I can't imagine ever for the rest of my life going down Sunset to Malibu. I just can't imagine driving through the Palisades and seeing nothing. All the places that we've all stopped at 1,000 times going from Hollywood to Malibu, and it's gone. I just can't even imagine.
It's insane. And I drove that. I mean, I used to, when I lived in Thousand Oaks, I would drive Canaan to PCH and then PCH over to the West Side or LA or wherever it was. And then when I was living in Redondo Beach, I'd go the opposite way where I'd take PCH up the other way a lot of times to avoid the 405. And so, yeah, all that stuff's gone. I mean, seeing the footage of like just even Malibu, like, it's Moonshadow. I mean, all these places are gone that I spent a lot of time at. Yeah, it's crazy.
And when people, I know people are still giving and things are still, people are still affected, but having just said moon shadows, they say that, I think it was like 92% of all their staff or 87%, whatever it was, of their staff have been there since day one. Mm-hmm. So for the past 30 years, they have a job now.
Yeah.
So you think of all the people that lost their homes or other people that are affected too. It's just, just a snowballing effect.
Well, now they're talking about, I forget what the term is, like climate relocation or whatever it is, but a lot of people coming from there to here out to Vegas because, they have nothing left or they want to leave or whatever, including the movie studios, which in my opinion would be a good idea if they make that happen here. But that's up to the government to give them the tax breaks, which hopefully they will do.
Yeah. I think that's going to happen to some degree. I don't know to what degree, and I don't know how, but I do think, I think that there's going to be a lot of entertainment movement up, up north now.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I hope so. I hope so. I think it would be good for the city here, and we're already kind of a lot of entertainment here, but we're battling my other kind of semi home, Dallas, because they're the Texas people are giving tax breaks to whomever they want. Matthew McConaughey and a bunch of his people out there trying to lure some of the studios. So it's going to be interesting to see whom goes where.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, but I think that a lot of people are going to be leaving California for a variety of reasons anyway. So it'll be interesting to see where they end up. Okay, so tell me everything new in Vegas.
Everything new in Vegas.
In a nutshell, what's new?
Yeah, right. I haven't spent a whole lot of time out here, so I was avoiding a lot of the F1 and other stuff. So I was in Dallas for quite a bit. Plus, we had a lot of shows out there, bands playing out there. But it's thankfully a lot of the construction is slowing down here and there, so that's good.
Your hockey team, how are they doing?
Hockey team's doing very well. I'm seeing them again tonight. It's NHL trade deadline day. So I've been up since early this morning following all that stuff, a whole bunch of insanity going on there. But yeah, the Knights are good. The playoffs are going to be crazy because all of the top teams in both the East and the West are loading up on players, and it's going to be a very interesting playoff. So I'm looking forward to that. It starts.
Why do you think soon. It's not that time yet? Is it?
A month from now, April. Wow. I believe it's April 19th. I think the playoffs start, something like that.
The ages away. That's
a
lifetime away.
I know. Seems like it's tomorrow.
No, but yeah, it's crazy how fast it goes. Who would have thought we'd already be into March? So, and the baseball team's still happening, right?
That's a big question mark. It's interesting because I was watching the news this morning and they were talking about this. It's Major League Baseball weekend here in Vegas, and the A's and some other teams are playing out at where the Aviators play out in Summerlin, and talking about the team coming here. And they just brought in a new president who was the guy who helped bring the Raiders here and help build Allegiant. But the underlying problem that I'm hearing from a lot of people is that there's no money to build the stadium. And that's really the big problem. The owner doesn't have the money, and he's yet to get other investors involved to build the stadium. So, I don't know. They're playing in Sacramento, and there's a lot of buzz about Sacramento really wanting the team, and they're willing to spend money to upgrade their stadium to make it so the A's stay there without the A's having to spend a lot of money. So it's up in the air.
Yeah, that sounds a bit iffy, but I don't get how. I mean, when you look at Allegiant Stadium and you look at, the Raiders in Vegas, I don't get why anybody that has that kind of money that's into that sort of thing wouldn't jump on this. It works for the Raiders.
Well, right? Yeah, of course. But also the Raiders got half of the stadium was funded by the government. So they only had to spend $750 million. But this new stadium is only getting $350 million from the government. So they're going to have to spend over $1 billion of someone's money. And like I said, the owner is... I mean, I'm not a huge baseball fan, so I don't want to speak out of turn. But everybody's told me he's one of the worst owners in all of sports. And you could ask any A's fan, I guess, about that. But it's not his money; it's his parents' money that he has. So, and they don't. Allegedly, if they spent this money, they wouldn't have much left, and there's nobody coming in to pay for the stadium. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm not involved at all. I have friends on the periphery, and you hear all these things, but I do know people that know way more about this stuff than I do are skeptical that it's going to be built here with the current people involved. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody else couldn't come in and be a part owner, and maybe they can put up some money, or a bank could put up some money. But so far, what's the famous movie quote? "Show me the money." We've not seen the money yet.
What was it called? Maguire. Jerry
Maguire.
No. What was it?
Jerry Maguire.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Duh. Where's Tom Brady when you need him, right?
Yeah, right. He's with the Raiders, so he's hopefully finding a quarterback.
I know. But, he invested in an English football, soccer team as well. My husband's rival team. So
who is Aston Villa's rival?
Tom Brady at our house. What?
Who is their rival?
Birmingham City.
Oh yeah, there you
Another
go. Yeah.
Birmingham team. And yeah, so how bizarre is that? Like, what? Why?
I mean, that's a big thing. Like the owner for the Golden Knights now owns a team in the English league. It's one of the smaller teams, and I don't even know if they're in the main league, but he
You know,
owns part of a team over there.
the guy that owned the Cleveland Browns used to own or partially own Aston Villa, the team my husband supports. But so I think that's quite a common thing. And I think maybe even, I think the Rams owner owns something
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah, so did the owner for I think for a while the guy who owned I'm going to forget who it is now, but he owned like Manchester United I think for a while. The guy who owned I think was the Tampa Bay Lightning. But yeah, it's big money over there, and obviously these owners want to own the most popular thing ever. Yeah, so it's clearly
But
English
then you
league
look at
soccer is
Tom
huge.
Brady, who isn't a football team owner. He's not he's a retired football player with a lot of money. And I mean, obviously happy to invest even in shit soccer teams. But yeah.
Yeah, it's all a play. I mean, I'm sure, he's has a small stake in the Raiders, and so he's kind of become the face of the Raiders. And I'm sure that, over there he's got some sort of cachet that, for his ego or whatever reason he wants to do it.
Yeah, so funny. So what good shows have you seen lately?
Shows. There hasn't been a lot lately, actually. There's a bunch of stuff coming up that I'm excited about. I'm going to go see our band Kill Switch Engage, whose new record is out, and we have a single that's headed towards the top 10 in active rock radio, which is kind of mind-blowing.
That's cool.
Yeah, thank you. Knock on wood. But they're playing here next week at Virgin, so I'm excited about that. This is the way. So I'm kind of bummed out. I'm a huge fan. You should know who these people are. A lot of people probably do not know, but I'm a huge fan of the English band Squeeze. 80s pop band. Absolutely love them. Been a huge fan forever. They've actually played the U.S. a lot in the last few years. I think I've seen them 3 or 4 times. But they opened for Heart on Monday in L.A. And by the time I got out there, I was not still feeling great with the allergies, so I figured I should probably be responsible and rest because I had to talk the next night. There was a Q&A after the film, and my voice was kind of a mess, so I missed it there. And they're playing tonight here in Vegas at the Palms, but it's the same night as the Pittsburgh Penguins are playing the Knights. And the Penguins have Sidney Crosby, one of the greatest players of all time, and he's getting older. I don't know how many times I'm going to get to see him. So it's one of those things where, can I be 2 people tonight? Has to be 2 things at the same time. But yeah, next week is going to be the Kill Switch show, so I'm excited for that.
Have you? It's funny about tonight, but have you seen the Eagles at the Sphere yet, or no, or no desire?
No, I absolutely want to go. There's a slight possibility I might go on Saturday. Just depends on how my schedule goes, but I absolutely want to see them. I'm a huge Eagles fan. I saw Hotel California in the original days and in the early 80s. And yeah, I'm a huge fan. So, and I love the Sphere. So I have to go see it at least once.
Yeah. I've only been to the Sphere once, and that was for U2. And I've not been, and I've never seen the Eagles ever.
Oh, wow.
And I love them. But I thought, the Eagles, the Sphere, it just didn't kind of feel right to me. It didn't seem like they don't seem a visual band, and it's kind of, I didn't get it. But I know, so I have some friends in Utah that have been. So it's not even like they live in Vegas, so it's right there. But 4 different friends, 3 of which know each other, 1 doesn't even know them, that are now seeing seeing the Eagles next weekend. 1 person for the 3rd time, and the others for the 2nd time at the Sphere. And I said, I'm not getting it. And they say I'm crazy, that it works so well. And I don't get it.
Yeah, I was kind of like you. I had heard that they were the rumors that they were going to be the band, which makes sense because Irving Azoff is kind of more or less running the Sphere, and he manages the Eagles. So it's, makes a lot of sense. But I was with you. I was like, they're not really a hugely visual band. So I was curious to see, but I have seen some of the imagery, and look, those people that work in Burbank, California at the mini Sphere there right by Burbank Airport, they do a phenomenal job. And I've seen some footage of some of the stuff that my friends have gone and seen on social media, and it does look pretty cool. And I have a lot of friends who have been said, yeah, it's great. So I'm not surprised that it's not great, but that it is great. Sorry.
Yeah. I just heard that it looks as if Harry Styles is coming, which I know has been a long touted rumor. I think it is still a rumor. I don't think tickets are on sale. So until tickets are on sale, it's never for real. But I think they're looking at 35 nights for him. Did you
Really?
hear that
Wow.
too?
I've heard his name. There's, the few names that have cropped up that I've heard. So it's interesting because who's the Backstreet Boys are doing it. And I'm curious to see if they're going to be able to sell that many nights out. I mean, maybe their fans will just go repeatedly because they're so into them. But that was kind of I thought an odd one. And Harry Styles would make sense. He's still doing the rock
nights.
Yes, he's still doing the rock thing, right?
I don't really know. Pop.
Yeah, it's like pop rocky. He had a solo record that a couple of my friends said you should listen to this. It's actually a pretty good rock record. I heard a couple songs. It was good. I mean, not wasn't really
35 nights though. I mean, to me, his audience is a little girl audience, and I don't know how many little girls go to Vegas.
Right. Well, I think that it's changed. Like I said, he's kind of reinvented himself lately, where he's doing more of a rock sort of thing, not the teeny bop thing he was doing beforehand. And, I mean, he was playing, he was selling out the Garden and, all these big arenas. So, I mean, that's a lot. I suppose that a lot of that's going to be, if there's a show that goes with it that's really phenomenal, that people are like, oh my God, you got to go see this, and there's a buzz for it. Absolutely. But
yeah, I bet that could be really visual. I do think. Yeah,
because that's the really big key with, you can't, it doesn't make any sense for me, even like for U2 to play all those dates there. And I love U2, but it's like, what do they play? 60 some odd shows. That's a lot of shows to play at one single venue. But the show was so amazing that the buzz goes out there. And I mean, I know countless people that were like, yeah, I kind of like U2, but I went because I heard the show was great, and it was really, really great. And it is.
Yeah, I'm not wasn't a U2 fan. And I thought, oh, I'm going to go anyway. I was invited to go. It was the opening night. I thought, oh, I may as well go, and left being a fan, and couldn't believe I knew every song. And I thought I probably only knew 3. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I know countless people that, again, said the same sort of thing, but I know countless people that went like at least twice.
Oh yeah, I went 3 times, but I'm a huge U2 fan. Yeah, I saw them on the very first tour, the Boy Tour in 1980, whatever it was, I guess, at the Country Club in LA. So I've been a fan for years and years. So I went 3 times. So it was fun bringing new people too, because like the first time I went with one of my buddies, and then the second time I took my girlfriend. It's just like you. She's not a really big U2 fan, but she, same thing. She's like, I didn't know they did that many songs. I go, I told you so.
So what else has been in Vegas? But what shows, not concerts, but what shows, Vegas shows? If somebody called you and said, okay, I'm coming to Vegas for my first time, what should I go see? What would you say?
I would ask a question. Do you enjoy, do you enjoy edgy humor? And
like Absinthe?
Yes. Absinthe by far is the best show, hands down, in Las Vegas. I've seen it 42 times. Every time it's different.
No.
Yes. Every time it's different, because there's different hosts, there's different acts. It's always different. The audience is always different. It's
I've got a long way to go to catch up.
Yeah, it's the best.
But I will.
It's the best show ever in Vegas by far. That's great. And any of the Spiegelworld stuff is really good. The Saloon show is really fun. I haven't been to Disco Show now. That's their new thing that they've got. That's kind of more of an interactive sort of thing. But anything that they do is good. I mean, there's a lot of I mean, whatever you're into in Vegas, like if you're into Garth Brooks or if you're into whomever, those shows are all going to be good. I haven't seen him, but I've seen a bunch of shows. It's all good, and it's all in smaller theaters, which you don't normally get. So it's fun.
Did you ever see Shin Lim?
No, I'm not a magic guy at all. I'm friends with Chris Angel, and he's invited me out to see his show before, and I've not gone yet. I have to at some point, just because he's a good guy, and I heard it's a good show, but I'm not a magic guy, so no.
I loved Shin Lim.
Although Penn and Teller is phenomenal. I did go see them a couple of times, and they're phenomenal. They're also metalheads too, which is nice.
Yeah. I've not seen them either, and I saw David Copperfield 1,000 years ago. And because I saw him 1,000 years ago, I can't even imagine it being modern. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I don't know how magic is either modern or not modern, but because it was so long ago that I just keep imagining it being the same thing that, I don't know. I've got no desire to go. But
yeah, and I'm not like I used to be a big fan of Cirque, but I had a couple of friends that worked there that left. Anyway, it wasn't a good circumstance when they left. It wasn't fair for them. But so I've kind of been boycotting Cirque a little bit. However, this Mad Apple show is really cool. That's their new show, and it's kind of more of an edgy, sort of different show. I haven't seen it yet, but it's really good. I've heard it's really good.
I haven't seen it, but I heard the same thing.
Yeah, so I would recommend that.
Okay. Las Vegas, and then we'll move on. We don't have to keep talking about Vegas. What's your favorite thing about Las Vegas and your least favorite thing?
Oh, wow. It's a really good question. Favorite thing, I guess just the amount of things you can do here. Like you don't have to do them, but every night there's stuff going on, whether it's phenomenal restaurants or great shows or concerts. I mean, it's so easy to get around to these things, unlike Los Angeles. The only thing I don't like about Vegas is all of the construction. I have a place by the Strip, and they've been working on the freeway now for 3 years, and it's just kind of a whole nightmare to go around it. And they close down the Strip. My single, though, greatest thing that I can't stand about Vegas is F1.
I get it.
I've always been an F1 fan. I'm a huge IndyCar fan.
Yeah.
I love that style of racing. But what they do to the city and how they just basically just shut it down for months on end for a 90-minute race makes no sense to me. You can't go anywhere. You can't get anywhere. My friends who work on the Strip, takes them hours to get to work and back. And it just seems like if you're going to do it, fine, but reroute it. Don't do the Strip. Like you're blocking the Bellagio fountains, like one of the top 10 attractions in the world for 3 months. You can't see them. So a lot of people aren't coming to Vegas anymore because of that. I mean, Super Bowl weekend here was the worst weekend they've had in history, that you could get rooms for like $8. It's bad. So I'm going to be curious to see how March Madness does here, because if March Madness is similar to the Super Bowl, this city's got a problem.
Yeah. I'm already getting all my March Madness emails from the different Resort World or this or what. I think that bit between just before Allegiant Stadium to shortly after Allegiant Stadium, that should take no more than 3 minutes with moving traffic. I've sat in it before for half hour.
Yeah, it's like LA traffic again. I get off the freeway and go around. I've got, basically you can get off at Russell and go to Valley View and you'll go around the whole thing. It's maybe it takes you an extra 5 minutes, but for some reason, like GPS.
I don't care if I'm moving, I'm fine.
Exactly. And GPS tells you to stay on the freeway, but right when you get to Allegiant until you get past Sahara, basically, it's just a parking lot, just like being on the 405. It's no fun.
Okay, so we have people that send in random questions. So these aren't really necessarily applicable to you. But here's one. No, this one's applicable to you. So is there a new artist we should all be looking out for?
Oh yeah, there's a few. It just depends on how deep you go into the metal world. If you're into the super heavy stuff, we have a band called 200 Stab Wounds that's doing really, really well. Underground metal, kind of a cross between Power Trip and Cannibal Corpse, very heavy. They're doing tons of touring. The buzz on them is insane. They're actually on this new Whitechapel tour, which is one of our other bands that just put out a new record. They're doing really good. And then if that's a little too heavy for you, but you still like rock music, you should be listening to this punk band of all girls that I absolutely love called the Linda Lindas. They actually opened for the Stones and they opened for a Green Day tour, so they're starting to do well. But they've got a couple records out that are really good. It's really fun, pop punk, really well done. A young girl, they're all still teen. I think one guitar player is now 18, but they're still teenagers. But it's so good. They're so good.
Oh, that's awesome. And did you watch the Grammys at all?
No. I have a long history with the Grammys. When Metallica lost that one time to Jethro Tull and everybody freaked out.
Oh my God!
They appointed me to be on the actual Grammy, the NARAS board, the board of directors. Like there's like 7 people, and they wanted me to be on there because they're like, you're a younger guy, and we want to make sure we don't make this mistake again. So I was on the board. I was also the chairperson of the committee that was supposed to make sure that didn't happen again, that the right things got nominated the right way in the metal and hard rock category. So I was on the board for about a year and a half, and it was very disappointing to me because I just show up and I'd be on these board meetings with all these, big, huge executives, and none of them wanted to listen to anything I said because I'm at that point I was like, 29 years old or something. So I was on the board for a year and a half, and I'm like, it's not really for me. And, it doesn't make any sense. The only person on that board though, that was really cool to me and actually listened to what I said was Eddie Money. Eddie Money was amazing.
Oh my God.
And so then I became involved with making sure the metal and hard rock, categories were proper, and I did that for a while, but then it ended up arguing with the other people on the board about like whether Iron Maiden's heavy metal, because Iron Maiden's not heavy metal anymore. We have to put them in the hard rock category. Iron Maiden is one of the bands, and the same thing with Black Sabbath. Like they invented the genre. I'm not gonna put them in hard rock just because they don't have a heavy singing. Now this makes no sense. So after a while, I just like I gotta get out of here. And then ever since then, it's been ever since Tenacious D won with an acoustic track that Jack Black had to send apology letters to all the other nominees. I can't watch it. I know too much about it. I know the politics involved in it, and it's just not for me.
This year, I thought it was so offensive that everybody had to, they were obviously told they had to say this. Everybody, their speeches were thanking the 13,000 verified voters. Like, what is that? They were obviously told, because so many people think, oh, is this fake? And do people really vote? No, there's 13,000. Well, my husband didn't vote last year, so there was really only 12,999, I guess. But I think it's getting to be a bit too much now.
Yeah, it's and the other thing that bothers me, it's a little bit better now, but they, for so long, everybody's just lip syncing, and I just cannot stand that. I can't watch it. I did go to last time I went to the Grammys was actually in 2020, right before everything ended. And that was actually a pretty good one. There was a lot of good artists there, like Lizzo was there, Her was there, there was quite a few really good artists that were actually singing. Demi Lovato, who's great, who's a metalhead. And she was phenomenal. It was actually one of the better Grammy awards I've seen. So that was kind of fun. And the awards went pretty well. But ever since then, it just seems like it's the same people winning every year. And I mean, the fact that Beyonce won for a country album, I mean, that's just the biggest joke of all time, but she wins everything because she's Beyonce. So like I said, it's just all politics now, and it has nothing to really do with music, which is.
I guess nobody wanted Jay-Z pouting again this year.
There you go.
Did you watch the Oscars?
I did not watch the Oscars, mostly because I was doing something else that night. It's hockey season for me, and I'm busy enough because not only am I doing my day job, I'm doing a podcast now, which takes up a lot of time. And I'm also working on a TV show on Hulu and all these other things. So I don't have a lot of time anymore.
How many hours are in your day, Brian?
It can be like 14 or 16-hour days sometimes. So that's, it's a bit much. But so any waking time I have that I'm not doing all that stuff, I want to be watching hockey. So I did not see the Oscars. Plus, I haven't seen any of those movies. So
me neither.
Did you watch the Oscars?
I did. I just kind of watch for the pomp and circumstance, but I did watch the night before the Oscars. I watched The Substance, and I think that literally was the only movie that I had seen. It was definitely quite a surprising night, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, at least the only thing I'll say about the Oscars is that at least they are awarding like actual. They're not just awarding the blockbusters and the things that you expect to happen, right? Like a lot of these movies people haven't seen or heard of that get nominated. They're actually really good actual art films and not, cookie cutter, franchise movies. Yeah. So I like the fact that they at least recognize those things, unlike the Grammys.
Yes, very true. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some questions that were sent in, okay? Mm-hmm. What is your favorite kind of vacation?
Well, considering I've only been on one in the last 43 years, that's hard. I mean, the only thing I like to do is go to warm weather, and whether that's a beach or just warm weather, that's my thing. So, and I don't ever get to really take vacations, but I try to if I have to go. Like if I go to my,
I have to interrupt. You said something that was inaccurate. You said, I don't really get to take vacations. You don't really choose to take vacations.
It's
You are
correct.
your own boss and you can absolutely go anywhere, anytime you want.
That is correct. That is 100% correct. But what I do try to do, though, is at least if I'm going somewhere, I want to take a couple days off to enjoy wherever I'm at. Whether it's Europe or, I love going to Florida for, recording sessions or shows just to enjoy some nice weather. So really anything, I mean, our beach is always good. I don't really want to go in the water, but I like to look at the water. So
Me too. Me
it's
too. If
always,
I go to the beach, same thing.
it's
My
fun.
feet at best will get in, but not very often.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I've had
really.
places at the beach and probably went in. I mean, I lived in Redondo Beach for 4 years and I never even put my toe in the water. So,
Yeah,
and I had
nice
an
to look
ocean too.
at. Yeah, just nice to look at.
Yeah, but anything with warm weather, I'm all about.
Do you have any kind of small daily habit or routine to help get your day started?
Interesting. I mean, basically, what happens is I wake up in the morning, and I'll usually turn on the local Vegas news because I'm friends with a bunch of the people on the news, and it's kind of lighthearted news. And then I get on my phone and I check my email because I'm dealing with Europe and check I go through a progression. I check my emails, then I check my AOL mail, which is where all my nonsense goes. Then I'll check Facebook only for birthdays. That's all I do on there. And then I'll just go down my social media stuff. Then I'll kind of just sit in bed and I'll
Do you
have
do all this without caffeine?
yeah, that's the thing is when I get up, I don't do coffee, but I do these drinks called Zevias. They're
Yeah, I know.
healthy alternative drinks. There's
Yeah.
nothing in them but stevia and carbonated water. But I do the Mountain Zevia, which is one with caffeine in it. So I get up and have one of those in the morning while I'm scrolling through all this different stuff, and that kind of gets me ready for the day.
If you wake up in the middle of the night, for whatever reason, will you look at your phone or no?
No. And unfortunately, as I get older, I wake up in the middle of the night a few times now to have to pee. No, I definitely do not look at my phone. I've done that before, and then trying to go back to sleep is impossible. So
Doesn't work.
the
Yeah.
only thing I look at is the clock and see what time it is. It's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Same.
4 o'clock. All right, that's fine. I
Yeah.
got time to go back to sleep and not like freak out. I don't like it when I wake up at like 6:30 or 6:45 and I'm kind
Oh
of
my God.
awake.
No,
And I'm
I would
like,
be in such a bad mood.
yeah,
That's
I'm like, I try to go back to sleep for a little bit. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And you just get up and just like, I'm just gonna get up.
anything from 4:30. I'm awake, and if I
Yeah.
were to ever sleep as late as 6:30, my mood would be terrible. Either my husband or my animals would check to see if I'm in a coma if I was still asleep at 6:30. So
Wow.
yeah, that didn't happen here. But yeah, it's so dangerous when you look at your phone in the night. I don't know how. It takes a lot of discipline though not to do it, but it's
Yeah,
yeah.
I rarely do. I mean, the only time I'll do that is if I'm flying that day because every flight I'm on is delayed, and I'll usually just look at because it'll come up on my screen. I'll look at my
Right.
screen and okay, there's nothing there. My flight's okay so far.
Yeah. Okay, so being as busy as you are, what is a simple way to stay connected to the people close in your life? This is your loved ones, but whoever.
Yeah, I mean, just texting with everybody. I text my friends all the time, and vice versa. So I always like to stay in touch with people, and I have a busy day, but luckily a lot of my friends I also work with, so that's kind of fun. But I always text, like the girlfriend and I text all the time during the day and stuff, and just
How often?
yeah.
How often do you pick up the phone instead of texting?
Yeah, rarely.
Me
I hate
too.
to say that,
Me
but
too.
the problem, the problem is, and a couple of my friends mentioned this to me once before. The problem is with that is when you call somebody, it's like, hey, how's it going? How you doing? There's a whole bunch of the kind of, there's 2 or 3 minutes of just that sort of,
Waste. How are the kids?
yeah,
How are
exactly.
the dogs? How are the cats?
And then by the time you're done, you're there for 10 minutes and it could have taken you a minute of texting. And it just, when
Yeah,
you're a
I'm
busy
saying.
person, you just don't have that luxury. But it depending on who it is, sometimes I do like to do the calls or even a Zoom or something, but usually it's just texting or email.
I find, and people always call me out on it, saying, don't you have 2 minutes to talk? And I don't. I say, no, I don't. And it's usually because, well, I can say this because I'm female, with all due respect here, I can multitask. So I find if I'm on the phone, I'm still gonna want to send an email and wash dishes and eat my lunch and put on makeup, all those things on the same call. And people find it rude or can tell that or will think I'm distracted. I'm not distracted. I'm multitasking, but people will find it rude. So it's easier for me to do all those things while texting. Then I don't have to have anybody say, "Are you washing dishes at the same time?" It's much easier.
Yeah, I have a few people that like have to call about something fairly trivial too, and usually I kind of put them off for a while just because I just don't have the time. But sooner or later, it's like, all right, fine, I gotta call this person just so they will stop texting me about calling them.
It's funny, and well, I think this really already, and I think we've already answered this. How do you get motivated? Well, we know it's your caffeinated sparkling water.
No. I mean, look, people ask me this all the time. I've been doing this now for 43 years, and why do you still do it? Why do you still do it day to day? Why haven't you sold the company? All this nonsense. I mean, I just love doing it. I love music. I'm still I think as big as a fan now as I was 43 years ago. So I just love the music, and it's always fun to discover new bands and hear new music and see that there's hope for the future in terms of music and stuff. So yeah, I still love doing it. I will admit the caffeine does not hurt though. That definitely helps.
You are so blessed though, because the number of people, I'm sitting here now trying to think of the number of people in my life that are actually doing their job that they love, that they would want to do if they weren't getting paid for it, that, they would still at whatever age be doing. And there aren't many people that you could say that about.
Yeah, I like to complain that I have too much going on, but then I really can't complain because I mean, sometimes it's a pain in the ass, obviously. I mean, anytime you're running a business, it's not super easy.
Yeah,
but
you take the bad with the good, obviously.
Yeah, but for the most part, I can't complain. And I love people ask me all the time, like, why don't you just sell the company? And I say, well, first of all, no, I'm not going to do it for two reasons. Number one, I don't really care about money. So like, what am I going to do? I have all this money and sit in a mansion and twiddle my thumbs. It's not going to do that. And it's not fair to all the musicians in the bands. I've had almost all my friends, and we're one of the few independent rock labels left. And they've all sold the companies and they've all regretted it. And, eventually people get let go and, all that sort of stuff. And we have a phenomenal staff and a bunch of great bands, and I wouldn't want to do that to any of those people. Plus it's still fun. And when I wake up in the morning, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to ask somebody, hey, can I do this today? It's like, I know I can do whatever I want. So
you can go on vacation even.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Someday maybe.
Okay, well, if you don't have anything else you would like to speak about, I think we're kind of well caught up.
Yeah, it's good. I do have to ask you a couple questions, though. I'm going to turn it around on you. Just because it's like the elephant in the room if we don't talk about it, because it's. So how are you feeling about this final Black Sabbath show?
I think it's very exciting. I always hate the word final, but in all intents and purposes, this is final. But I think it's exciting. I think the day, you're saying the Black Sabbath show, but I'm talking about the actual festival day.
Yeah.
I think is very exciting because it's so many artists. It's so many, you look at an Ozfest or other festivals, a Lollapalooza or whatever. It's different. This is a whole different sort of, it's not multi-day for a start. It's one day with a zillion artists, either with their band or pay tribute to. And I think that's all very exciting. I think whoever does have tickets is going to have an amazing value for money.
And your husband's never played Aston Villa, has he?
Yes, he has.
Oh, he has. All right. I wasn't sure about that.
Forever until last summer, he played a song with Foo Fighters.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I thought he had done something there because I remember there was a whole big Aston Villa thing. But I was like, just thinking to myself, like, that's cool that you get to play. It's very cool. You love.
It's very, yeah. I mean, he's so excited about that part anyway, and to be with his, brothers in arms for that. I mean, that's where they're from, and it's nice for them to end where they started.
Yeah, it's crazy because like it's all everybody's talking about, and you're going. It's like I'm not. I mean, I'd love to go, but it's going to be just so crazy. But what's happening around there, though? So Slayer's now doing 2 shows, one before and one after. They've been announced, so I can talk about it now. And Amon Amarth's opening those shows. Then Iron Maiden's also playing in London like that same week. So there's this whole group of like, it's like the metalheads dream week between, all these different shows. And it's going to be quite just between everything. It'll be quite the spectacular week over in England.
And so many people I know that are coming over for the shows, like agents that I know that are coming over, or managers, are popping in to see Oasis as well because they're in Cardiff the night before. So
that's right. I forgot. That's yet another one now. It's like like it's the stars have aligned to make this like the week of insane shows, and a fitting, if it is farewell, a fitting farewell, obviously to really I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if it wasn't for Black Sabbath. So
I think that it'll definitely be a farewell for them. So it's and I'm sure some of them individually will find something else to do to ease the boredom, or a hobby or another charity gig or whatever, because there's always something to do. But as far as the four of them go, this is
I kind of like the fact that they're doing it this way, and it's kind of going out this way, because it's such a legendary band, and what's the Neil Young, it's better to burn out than fade away. And I'd rather have them just not fade away. It's like, this is the kind of and I think it's really great that all these bands get to go who, look, obviously, as I said before, none of us would be here if it wasn't for Black Sabbath. So the fact that they all get to go pay tribute in person to, this band that meant so much to this entire genre that's really special. And I know a lot of those guys, and they're all like super honored and excited to be doing this. Even a band like Metallica, that's, massive. They're still just like kids, like, oh my gosh, we're going to go play. And same thing with, Slayer and the whole thing. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's
going to be a really fun day. I wish you were coming, because it will be fun.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Enough people are bothering me about it. And there's so many things other that week. I'm like, oh man, that's going to be crazy. So we'll see. But I also know how those shows are. And it's just, there's 4 zillion people there. It's wacky and it's insane. And
oh yeah, me personally, I'm sure I'll be there, but I couldn't even imagine. I think, and knowing that venue, it's still, logistics are still being determined as to, how this is going to work with so many artists. This isn't a shed. This isn't like going to San Bernardino, and there being a massive parking lot where you could put a ton of trailers and whatever. It's not that. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I just know how those things go, and it's just kind of super crazy, especially for everybody involved, because everybody wants to say hi, everybody wants to do that and that. Like, that's why I hate going to shows in like LA or New York, because it's worthless. So I'll go to Dallas, where nobody ever is at shows, and
that's perfect. That day actually may be one of those that I sleep it out. But
yeah, I was gonna say hide out in the dressing room. Don't leave.
Yeah. Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay. Well, then I will say goodbye. And are you going to be in Los Angeles on the 20th?
Absolutely, I will be. It's kind of crazy though. That's the day after our year-end meetings. We're having a year-end meetings here in Vegas, where we fly our entire staff from around the world in, and we kind of go over everything. So that ends Wednesday, and then I'm flying in the day of. But I will be there.
I'll see you there.
See you there.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. I so love talking to you, and I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Anytime, and look forward to seeing you as well.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and be sure to follow Gabbing with Girlfriends on here so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on social media for more fun and in-depth conversations. Thank you.